Hello my friends, Mina Geek here. The transition from the year 1999 to the year 2000 was something unique. It happens once in 1,000 years, literally, because we went from the second to the third millennium. What? The third millennium starts in 2001 because that's what Grigore said? I don't know who Grigore is, but he's wrong. That's right, we reached year 2000 and somehow survived the Y2K virus, the Chicxulub of technology, which was supposed to melt all computers. But as usual, we managed to go through it. And because we made it through, we have to celebrate, of course. And what better way to celebrate technology than using the best technology of year 2000. Yes, I have here a high-end gaming computer from the year 2000, and fate had it for this to be exactly the high-end computer presented by Anantech in their Buyer's Guide High-End Systems December 2000. We start with the CPU, and this is the fasterful, because it's both fast and wonderful, Athlon with a frequency of 1.1 GHz and 256 KB of level 2 cache. We wouldn't see an Athlon with a larger cache until 2003, and believe me when I tell you, 1.1 GHz for the year 2000 was extremely fast, a very fast CPU that broke barriers, literally. Athlon was the first desktop CPU to exceed the 1 GHz barrier. Take that, Intel. This is an MSI motherboard. It's not a very high-end board in terms of features, but it has the best chipset for Athlon of that time, the great VIA KT133, and so performance should be top-notch. What other chipset to choose for Athlon from that year? SIS? Ali? The motherboard has a 200 MHz FSB, that is the speed between the CPU, motherboard and RAM, and it's perfect because our Athlon also has a 200 MHz FSB. They will get along perfectly. I'm going to use 256 MB. More than enough, I hope, we'll see. And we also have to look at the video card, because although the GeForce2 GTS is one of the fastest video cards from 2000, the model I have only has 32 MB of video memory, instead of the 64 MB of the GeForce2 Ultra or Titanium, or even some GTS versions. And no, GTS does not stand for Gran Turismo whatever, but for Giga Textile Shader, i.e. the card eats textiles and shaders for breakfast. And of course, being the start of the new millennium, integrated sound cards weren't the best stuff in terms of quality, so I'm going to use this wonderful Sound Blaster Live 5.1 from Creative. Advice: if you want to buy one, don't get the SB0220 version, it's an OEM version made for Dell and other manufacturers, and it's very odd with drivers, it won't work all the time. Installing the CPU is extremely simple because back then we had the pins on the CPU. Well, when talking about modern computers, only those with the inferior platform still have pins on the CPU. But let's move on please, thanks. As I was saying, easy peasy, the lemons are squeezy. Throw in some paste, a bit too much to be honest, and then the cooler. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the socket A mounting system is awful. And it's so awful and it gave me so much trouble that the tripod decided to give up. It probably said that if it saw another socket A installation, it would pop out of existence. So there you go, I don't have footage with the components and Windows installation. It is what it is. And here is the final product. Let's power it on. And it works from the first try. What about that? And I'm done. I installed Windows, and this is what it looks like when you enter Windows for the first time. We are greeted by the classic "Welcome to Windows 98" window. Of course, we don't have drivers, but we have nothing. Everything is displayed in 16 colors and 640 by 480, and I can't change anything. Let's start the installation routine. Motherboard drivers, and here we have to install the classic VIA 4-in-1, which contains 3 drivers. It desires a restart, of course. Windows 98, if you don't restart 10 times until you install everything, you don't feel it like you should. You have moved the mouse too fast. Do you want to restart? Anyway, I kept installing stuff until I got to the sound card. Sound cards, Midnight's Bane. The driver installation for the Sound Blaster Live froze. Of course, my bad. Let's try again. And this time it worked. The only part I get nervous about in Windows 98 is installing drivers for the dedicated sound card. It's horrendous. I installed DirectX 8.1 and everything seems okay, but to test that we have the mandatory direct draw and direct 3D tests, to which if you answer yes, the computer trusts you that everything is okay because it's such a nice guy. I tested the sound also, it seems to be okay as well. But to properly see if everything is okay, we need to run real and more demanding tests. Hence 3D Mario 99. But before that, we must change the system to our liking. And these are the amazing Windows 98 themes, wallpapers, icons, mouse cursors, and the weirdest sounds ever. There's no way something like this won't make you smile. Here's one reason I still use Windows 98. But yeah, the computer keeps freezing. Ouch. Like I've said in the past, a toxic love-hate relationship. Okay, I've changed the memory stick, I've used 2 different memory modules, and now I have 384 megabytes of RAM, something unheard of in the year 2000. But it still doesn't work, 3D Mark 99 still freezes, and I went back to 256 megabytes. I removed the sound card. I said to myself, maybe it's that plague that's been following me for the past 2 years, Creative and Windows 98. 3D Mark 99 and 2000 worked, and these are the results. Well, the system is still unstable, nothing shows in 3D Mark 99 because it froze again. Insert the sound card back in, enter save mode, uninstall everything from Creative, and it worked for a while. That is until I moved on to games. Quake 2 is a 1998 game, and it runs perfect at 1024x768 32 bits. Please don't forget, in the year 2000, not everyone was running in 32-bit mode. Many of us were still using 16-bit, either because we had voodoo cards or because we didn't have such fast video cards. 75 FPS in my opinion is more than enough, FPS values that very few of us were privileged to see, let alone have back then. Unreal Tournament is the 1999 game that, alongside Quake 3, brought the LAN craziness into our lives. Again, 1024x768, 32-bit high settings, and the card handles the game. Pretty good. 30-40 FPS is decent, though after playing games at 300 FPS it's a bit hard to drop to 30. But it's okay, select 16-bit and the game will run way better, and that's because the GeForce2 GTS bandwidth holds the card back. Need for Speed Porsche doesn't work, it just won't start. It's sad, I know, but so I am, and so is life. This was the game from the year 2000, you're welcome. I said I'd try something a bit newer, and I did. Aliens vs Predator 2 from 2001. 1024x768 32-bit high settings, it runs bad, 25 FPS. I kept trying to lower the resolution, bits and settings, the same story, nothing changes. And again, crash, wonderful. It's clear to everyone that something is wrong with this computer, or with the operating system. Maybe it's something with the sound card, or me installing the DirectX 8.2 update. I don't know, what I know is that I have to reinstall the operating system, again. I want to look more closely at video memory usage, the CPU usage, many other games, EAX special effects and other crazy stuff. But that's for a future video, which I hope will come soon enough. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, have fun with Windows 98 and be nostalgic.